All right. What's going on, folks? Welcome back to the FF Face-Off. This is a fantasy football podcast, part of the Face-Off Sports Network. Today, we're coming at you hot and heavy with your last-minute-ish Week 4 start-sit questions. We'll see if we get some injury news along the way here. But yeah, happy to be aboard. So let's rock. Let's get it going. I'll tell you guys, if you're watching on the YouTube, feel free to hit the like and the subscribe button. Hit that bell icon to be notified every single time that we go live. Last but not least, fffaceoff.com for all of your NFL fantasy football sports betting needs. My name is Michael Hopp. You can follow me on X at the FF Realist. I'm joined by Pete Nova, who was working both night. He worked last night. He's working today, working hard, giving you content. You can check that out in the old archives there. His name is Pete Nova. He can be followed at Supernova38 2Rs. Pete, how you doing?
Doing good. Ready to ready to rock.
All right, fantastic. And of course, the godfather of the program, the always handsome, the ever wonderful Anthony Servino. He can be followed, the real NFL guru. Anthony, sweetheart, how you doing?
Doing good. Let's get ready for week 4.
Fucking A. Good times. I will just say, we do get a lot of questions in here. So if you want to fire in a super chat and cut the line, you can feel free to do so. Pete, did you want to handle the questions or did you want me to?
Why don't you start and then we'll just do what we normally do.
Okay. I'm just going to go the first thing I see here. And it's Albert saying good morning. So good morning, Albert. There you go. Let's go here. Nico Martin says London or Pickens, 0.5 point per reception. Anthony's probably going to tease me over this, but I'm going George Pickens here. I don't like the matchup for Drake London. I do like the matchup for George Pickens, so I'm going that way today. Anthony?
This is close because I like George Pickens to actually have his breakout week this week against the Colts. London has been solid over, I believe, 15 or 16 fantasy points in back-to-back games, scores a touchdown in back-to-back games. I don't think this Saints defense is as good as it played the first few weeks. We saw them, play a little bit looser last week against Philly. I'm going to go George Pickens. I like George Pickens this week. This is a very soft matchup. And again, he's due. He's getting targets. And I think this could be one of those big George Pickens pop games that we drafted him in the 5th round for.
All right. We do have a super chat. So actually, I'll kick this one to you, Pete. $5 super chat coming in from, is that Fredo? Fredo from The Godfather?
Yeah.
I guess he made it off the boat. Okay. He's saying, start Kyler or Aaron Rodgers this week. Rodgers is going up against your Broncos, Pete, and Kyler is going up against the Commanders. So what says you here?
Yeah, pretty comfortable Kyler start for me. I mean, it's super chat, so I want to give some analysis, but I don't think we probably even need anything from you two because you're probably on the same page. But yeah, Kyler Murray, I want as many pieces in this game as well as the Detroit game. And for what it's worth, I mean, the Broncos defense, I think the Jets are going to find more success on the ground than they do against the pass with Alex Singleton out this week. Kyler is going up against Washington secondary, who's been really, really bad. And so I expect him to eat. And I expect him to play well. So yeah, Kyler pretty comfortably, Fredo. But if you have another question and you want to send that in as well, we'll get to it. I know not a ton of analysis there, but it's just there's not much to give you.
Going up against that Commander secondary, it's
a 49-point total on one side, 39.5 on the other side. Denver secondary, they shut down receivers, they shut down quarterbacks. I love Breece Hall today, so Kyler Murray. 35.5 prop total for passing yards, 34.5 rushing yards. That by far blows out Aaron Rodgers really comfortably, even with passing yards. Aaron Rodgers line is set at 221.5. So Vegas heavily favors Kyler across the board here. So I don't think this one's close.
And we do have another super chat. That's all right. Coming in from a lot of Z's on the YouTube. Pete, you can try to pronounce it if you feel like it.
Rizzy.
All right. I don't know. I'm not that cool. I was born in 1983. Whatever. Anyway, 2 spots to fill. Khalil Shakir, Jacoby Myers, Rashid Shaheed, or Darnell Mooney. I do love me. I love all these guys this week, but I'm going Shakir and I'm going Jacoby Myers for the opportunity with no Devontae Adams in there. But I do love all those options, to be honest with you today. Anthony, I'll go to you on that one. and then you can
Yeah,
chime.
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So Shakir, Shaheed, Myers, and Mooney. Number one, I'm going to go Shakir here. He's a high floor option every week, and my narrative all week has been Buffalo. They haven't really had to throw the football. That's why Shakir isn't seeing more than 5 or 6 targets a game. I think they're going to have to throw it in Baltimore. Shakir, in my opinion, is emerging as a number one pass catching wide receiver on this offense for Josh Allen. These other guys like Shaheed, with or without Chris Olave, have been pretty vocal that he's not a volume guy. And unless he gets you, and last week was a big example. You have the first 2 games, he looks like he's going to be a real deal. Last week, similar volume, drops a touchdown, gives you 0. No Devontae, that opens up for Myers, who's coming off a good game, and Mooney has been giving us quality games in back-to-back weeks. So I'm actually going to go Shakir and Jacoby. It's very close between Darnell Mooney and Jacoby Myers, but I think they're going to lean heavily on Myers with no Devontae Adams.
Pete?
Yeah, I'm gonna pivot a little bit. Shakir for me, for all the same reasons. But Shaheed is gonna be the play for me. I know he didn't have a great week last week, but the target share was there. And just overall, Olave looks like he's gonna play. But he might be limited in some sort of capacity with the hamstring. And so I think they're gonna try to get Shaheed involved again. So I'm gonna go with Shaheed there.
And we do have another super chat from our resident troll doing troll things as always. So, Pete, I'll go to you for obvious reasons in this question. He does say flex 1 PPR, Waddle or B Rob, and then he's got a baseball point. But give the football analysis first, and then we'll just let him have his fun.
I'll glaze over the baseball for you, so I don't put Hoff into too much pain.
You could answer me, paid. Whatever, it's fine.
I'm just kidding.
Make it snappy.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, pretty comfortably, I'm starting B-Rob in this situation.
Yeah.
He's just been money. He's just been so solid. No Austin Eckler this week. It's a solid matchup as well for him going up against Arizona, who, they've given up in terms of points to the position. I'm pretty sure that they've been okay. But I mean, last week, David Montgomery looked pretty good against them. Jahmyr Gibbs looked good against them. So the opportunity is going to be there for him. So I definitely want B-Rob over Waddle pretty comfortably. And then as for do the Mets show up today? Let's go Braves. They better. I don't even know who's up. I don't even know who's on the mound today for each team.
I haven't even looked yet. No, I didn't look yet. Didn't want to look. I'm still upset with them. So that's mine now.
Yeah.
Anthony, don't make me play the crying baby.
Yeah, but like people want their fucking questions answered. They don't want to hear this.
All right. Calm down. All right, let's get to a question before Jesus, a little moody today. Turbo Minecraft says Caleb or Derek Carr QB this week. Guys, I'll just say this too. As we get a lot of questions, if you ask a question and if we happen to miss it, just fire it into the chat again because things get a little mixed up once we start getting some super chats. But Caleb Williams or Derek Carr quarterback this week, I'm going to go Caleb Williams. I liked what I saw in the second half there. This isn't to say that I think that Derek Carr is going to fall back down to earth, but I like Caleb Williams. I like Rome Odunze in this matchup. Even with Keenan Allen returning. So yeah, give me Caleb Williams for hopefully a consistent 4 quarters. Anthony, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going Caleb here as well, fairly comfortably. I liked him last week. Didn't play the best game from an NFL perspective, but fantasy. It was his first big fantasy week, 27 fantasy points, depending on where you play. 363 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. And now the matchup is even softer against the Rams. So I like the over on his passing yards. I would take him to throw another 2 touchdowns. Like this could be the start of the Caleb Williams experiment really taking off with Chicago. And I'm a little bit worried about Derek Carr. And Jim Coventry said this on a RotoWire show, is Derek Carr turning back into a pumpkin?
I don't think so yet. I mean, he could. I mean, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of you could say that about a lot of quarterbacks this year. I mean, there haven't been great stellar performances, but yeah, I mean, for me, it's Caleb. The matchup's good. Carr plays a pretty tough secondary this week, so I'm Caleb here comfortably. I mean, Caleb threw the ball 50 plus times last week, so the opportunity is there for him to throw the football. And it's a good matchup against the Rams. So yeah, Caleb for me.
Dan coming in with 2 questions. This is a quick one. Texans or Bears defense this week? I'm going Bears defense. I know it's kind of sexy with the Texans because they're going against the Jaguars, who appear to be in shambles, but Bears have been one of the better DSTs on the year. So I will fire up the Bears in this case.
Yeah.
You guys agree or?
No, I mean, look, Bears are my number 2 streamer. Texans, I still have. I don't think the Bears are a bad defense to stream, but Texans number 1 in terms of total pressure. And this Jaguars offensive line is giving up a lot of pressure. And Trevor Lawrence is taking a lot of sacks, on top of the fact that I think this game they may be playing from behind, which leads to more sacks. I think Texans get 4 sacks today, and maybe even a turnover in there as well. So yeah, I'd take the Texans here for me.
And Michael Lopez, we'll get to your question next. I do just want to piggyback Dan with his other question. Anthony, I'll kick this one to you because this is kind of an interesting one because we talked about Brian Robinson. Pete did, as per our super chat earlier. Brian Robinson or Aaron Jones this week? That's an interesting one.
Yeah,
I'm going Brian Robinson, but you go ahead. Take it away.
I like both of these players a lot. Brian Robinson has the matchup. There's no Eckler. We expect him to see more volume. And then you have Aaron Jones on the other side, who's really, one of the best values you could have drafted in fantasy compared, I think it was like a 5th round pick, and he's returning really big time production on a week-to-week basis, heavily involved in the passing game. And this is his return to Green Bay. There's the revenge game narrative. And Green Bay's defense, running the football, like they have struggled a little bit to contain the running back. So I'm going to go Aaron Jones here.
Yeah, Anthony, I'm sorry, Pete. Just because it was kind of a juicy question, did you want to add anything to that, or should I get on to the next question?
No, I'm with Anthony too. It's a tough decision, but I'll start Aaron Jones here.
Okay. Next question, Michael Lopez over on the YouTube. Morning, guys. Need one. Addison, McConkey, Shaheed, Odunze, already starting London, and Chase, 12-team PPR. So he's got to pick one. I'm going to go Shaheed over Odunze on this one slightly, only because I know they're saying that Chris Olave is going to be active. They said he was going to test it out today, his hamstring, that is. But I still think that they're going to lean on Shaheed a bit here. So in this case, I'll take Shaheed.
I'm going Rome Odunze. I think we've had this question before. I just don't think, and maybe I'm wrong, that Rashid Shaheed is going to see volume with Odunze out. Like I don't see where the target increase is coming. So I'm still basing this on a boomer bust player against a tough Atlanta Falcons secondary.
My only thoughts of that, which you're right, like he's not going to see like 12 targets, but he doesn't need that to have a big fantasy day. Shaheed,
no,
he's shown that in the past, so that would be my only argument to the volume.
And Shaheed does have, like, in 3 games, he has scored 2 touchdowns against the Falcons. His stat lines, his normal stat lines. 3 for 65, 1, 3 for 95, 1, and then the one where he doesn't score, 2 for 9. So, like, we're getting that volatility, but you do have, historical a trend in your favor if you're starting Shaheed. Where's this game being played, by the way?
What's that, the Saints game?
Yeah, because the 2 games where Shaheed popped in this matchup was in New Orleans, for what that's worth.
Okay. Pete, did you have anything here or no?
I prefer Shaheed here. I know Anthony disagrees, but I still worry about Keenan Allen taking over some of that, and with Cole Kmet being involved a little bit more, I also worry a little bit about that. So I prefer Shaheed here if I'm picking one.
Caleb threw the ball 52 times last week.
but I don't think
But
they
we're
want
getting that volume.
I don't think we will though. I mean,
I don't think they want. If they can't run, the thing is they haven't been able to run the ball yet.
I know Roshan Johnson though should get some more looks and hopefully that helps. But even Shaheed last week, 5 targets. Now he dropped a long touchdown, and he was disappointing. But I think with the chance of Olave being limited, I want Shaheed for the possible boom. I think the safer floor is probably a Dunze, but I prefer Shaheed for the pop.
Leisha, right? Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. You got it.
I got it. Good morning, guys. Yes. Happy football day indeed. Yes. Thank you. Let's go over here because I think this is an interesting question. Connor Bateman over on the YouTube. He says, "Hey guys, full point per reception. Pick one. Deebo Samuel, Jerome Ford, or Terry McLaurin." It sounds like Deebo's going to play. I'm kind of surprised he was supposed to miss multiple weeks. I'm a little skeptical on what his snap count will be. I'm waiting to hear some more about that. But Pete, I'll go to you first on this one since I went to Anthony first in a couple. Where are you going on this one? Full point per reception.
Ford is the obvious sit here with how banged up this offensive line is for Cleveland, missing their both best offensive linemen today in Conklin. And I think I always forget if it's Wirfs or Willis, Jedrick Willis, because they're all similar. One of them is on the Bucks, one of them's on the Browns. But yeah, I think I lean McLaurin here just because, I think they may have unlocked something. The matchup is good. I do like Deebo, but I just worry it's not going to be a high scoring game. And with George Kittle back, there's all these other weapons. I like Deebo, but it's just the matchup doesn't really make me feel like a lot of points. And so give me McLaurin in a higher scoring game for me.
I would go that way as well. But Anthony, did you have anything to add?
It's hard to sit Deebo with in this matchup. I think it's must have. I think the matchup against New England is there. McLaurin coming off a hot game. He does get decent volume, and it's the Cardinals. So I guess I'll go McLaurin. But I think myself personally, I'm going to take Deebo to score a touchdown today. I think we at least get that from him. But McLaurin's probably better in fantasy. We do have breaking news. Looks like Joe Mixon is not going to play today.
Yeah, I figured that was going to happen. I thought it was
That's
weird.
Official. It's official now.
Yeah, I just thought it was weird that he practiced on Friday, though. I didn't understand that, but I don't know.
Yeah, Cam Akers, his cost in DFS is actually a pretty nice value, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, the ownership's up there, but still. But the ownership for those top running backs that you're going to want to play in DFS, in case you guys care about DFS, you're going to be playing a lot of guys that are rostered high. Yeah. But yeah, we do have another super chat in the DST super chat of all super chats. Highest scoring defense in the year, Minnesota. What is the confidence level? This coming in from our resident troll ETL. Don't worry, Anthony. He didn't ask anything baseball related. I think he learned. What is the confidence level in Minnesota this week going up against Jordan Love? Pete, go ahead.
Yeah, it for me, it just depends. If Harrison Smith is playing and Gilmore are playing, I like it. This is a defense that blitzes a ton, and Jordan Love possibly limited mobility with coming back early from that knee injury. I do worry a little bit for Jordan Love and how effective he'll be. I think they're a solid play. It just depends on what you have out there to start. I do prefer, I think, the Bears at this point over Minnesota, just because of the possibility of Smith and Gilmore not playing. But yeah, so I think there's still a quality play, but I need to see if those guys are up or not.
Now, is this in terms of fantasy or just who we're picking?
Well, it sounded like it was in terms of fantasy, and it was your or you could speak to both. It was your confidence level in Minnesota going up against Jordan Love. So you could speak to it from an NFL and a fantasy perspective.
I mean, these games that are played in Green Bay, the Jordan Love versus the Vikings, fairly high scoring, and a 24-10, a 41-17, and a 37-10. So, it looks like we're going to get points, and all of those games played, or two of them were dominated by Green Bay, and the one loss was a 24-10. So, obviously, this is a different Minnesota defense. Flores is calling great games, but it seems like Jordan Love against the Vikings, these are shootouts. So I'm gonna probably fade the defense if I could.
And just to piggyback, and then we'll get to the next question. I did get a private text from ATL and said, "I've never seen Anthony that mad. I wasn't even trying to troll him. I've seen him more mad." But,
Anthony, this is Anthony every time we get a baseball.
I fucking hate baseball.
It's useless. I tried, no
yeah, that's true. All right. Index of suspicion. Cool name. He says the scam Akers continues. Do we think Cam Akers is going to be a scam this week?
It's such a good freaking matchup, dude.
I hope he gets more touches at least.
But let's just segue into Alicia's question.
Yeah.
All right. So Mixon is out. Do I play Akers for sure now, or should I start another RB? I have Bucky Irving, J.K. Dobbins, or Jerome Ford. Her RB1 is Brees. Well, you got nice stability there, at least with Brees. But
I'm going Akers.
Yeah, I'm going Akers too. I would like to see a little more rushing attempts than what we saw last week. But yeah, I would go Cam Akers in this spot. Anthony?
Yeah, I would go Akers too. In terms of last week, that was all game script. If we look at the first two games that the Texans had, they were using, Mixon, we was healthy, and even in week 2 against the Bears, Cam Akers had 7 rushing attempts. When they're winning, they want to run the football. They want to grind that clock. And last week, when they were in a deficit against Minnesota, we saw 9 rushing attempts, and it was all on C.J. Stroud to try to get this team out of a hole. In theory, this game against Jacksonville should be a game where the Texans are once again in control. I think we could expect around 15 touches plus for Cam Akers, and he probably gets it to the end zone. They're a bottom 4 matchup, Jacksonville against fantasy running back. So I would probably bank on a touchdown as well. I mean, I would certainly bet that.
We do have another super chat coming in from Dylan over on the YouTube. Appreciate that. PPR flex. He needs one. Amari Cooper, George Pickens, T. Higgins, Najee. He says after he's a Steelers fan. So, okay. So we'll keep that in mind, but we'll give you the best analysis we can. But Pete, I'll go to you first on this one. Got to pick one of those, man.
So right off the bat, it's Najee over Pickens for me here, just because of the volume that Najee has gotten, and we know we get that volume. Now, Pickens might have a really strong day, and he provides probably a higher ceiling, but the matchup is really juicy for Najee, and he's no Jaylen Warren. It's just, if we can't start Najee this week, same with Pickens. If you can't start either of these guys this week, when are you starting them this year? But it's unfortunate you have to pick one. But I prefer Najee over Pickens, and it's really between Higgins or Najee for me here. I kind of want to go with Najee over Higgins just because Yoshivas is still involved, and I like Higgins. I think he's a good play, but I mean, I'm not starting Amari Cooper and I'm not starting Pickens. I don't want either of those guys when it comes to these 4, but it's really between Najee and Higgins for me.
Anthony?
I'm looking into the Cooper. That's the one piece of this that is tough for me because the Raiders, look at Deontay Johnson had a really nice game. I think even Thielen might have scored last week. Andy Dalton looked great in this matchup. And now this is Amari Cooper. We're starting to heat up a little bit. As bad as it was the first 2 games, Cooper 9 and 8 targets, then he pops with 12.
12, yep.
This, I don't know. I'm going to go. I don't know if he's ever played the Raiders in his career. At least I'm looking. I don't think he's played them as a member of the Browns yet. So he could have been against Dallas.
Yeah, probably.
But, this revenge game narrative, I'm going to go Amari Cooper. And I love these 2 Pittsburgh players. I have a ton of them in fantasy. Yeah. I'm starting myself, but I think the Cooper might be the play. I'm going to build off that momentum. And I like and Deshaun Watson starting to play. He's starting to put up some decent fantasy numbers, I think.
Yeah,
right?
Yep. Just like him to be more consistent. But yeah, sure. And Pete, it does come down to Najee or Cooper for me, but I'm leaning Cooper slightly as well. But I think both those options are more than solid in week 4.
I was say Deshaun was never I don't remember him being a big runner in Houston, but 3 games this year, 20 yards, 39, 26, 4 or 5 attempts, 2 passing touchdowns. So this is an ascending fantasy quarterback. If we look at 16, 17, and 20 fantasy points, and we get a solid matchup. So I think this should be a good Watson if you need to stream a quarterback. In a Amari Cooper game.
Yeah.
Anthony, this is a super chat just for you, which is out of sympathy. He actually told me he felt bad, so he sent that. He sent that super chat. He sent it for you, buddy. It was out of sympathy.
I think both those teams suck, honestly.
Oh,
I would just take the over.
All right.
Like both teams to score an over 2.5.
Okay. All right. So there you go. So there's your analysis.
Both sides are very disappointing.
I do want to answer one question just because it's more of one of a recent one, but I want to pull this up. Back 9 Train said Swift or Akers. I'm already rostering Nico and Stroud. I want to pull this up. He said if Deontay Johnson is out, so I'm assuming he can start Johnson over. I would start Johnson, but in no world am I starting DeAndre Swift today. And I understand you have Nico, you have Stroud. I think all 3 guys can be good for fantasy. No Tank Dell today. And there's a possibility that Stroud and Nico have a really amazing first half, and then Akers has a productive second half. I'm okay in this situation starting all 3. But if Johnson's in, I'm starting Deontay Johnson over Akers in this situation.
Anthony, what's his you?
Where's the Deontay? Oh, there's okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
Deontay part. It's Akers. I'm not touching DeAndre Swift.
Right.
And watch they all the fucking Roshan hype, and then DeAndre Swift has a career game because that's fantasy football. But I can't fucking do it.
I also just think, by the way, I think the whole Deontay thing is kind of overblown at this point. I mean, it was more about field conditions that day that he missed practice. Is there something there? Yeah, but I don't think it's all that significant. And he said he's fine. He's good to go. So I wouldn't even worry about it. But yeah, in no world either am I starting Swift. We are all in lockstep on that one, which means he'll probably pop.
Yeah, ATL, both teams to score and a 2.5. Now that I'm betting that myself. So lock that in.
Just to give you some, Index said EPL is a poverty league, and also Index said Bayern and Madrid, and then Bear said go Crystal Palace. We did win on a Crystal Palace bet, me and Anthony, last week.
Crystal Palace to me sounds like
one of my best betting modes is actually Armenia. There's a lot of value if you get the right matchups in Armenian Premier League.
All right, come on. Let's get back. Come on.
Anthony.
What the fuck, dude?
I hear Crystal Palace. I think of a special level in Super Mario Brothers. That's what I think. Anyway, Pete put this one up on the screen here. Andy Dalton or Rodgers for a super flex spot. Listen, I know Anthony's going to tease me. I'm not saying Andy Dalton's going to light the world on fire, but I'm going to take him over Rodgers here. I like the matchup better. If it was a different set of circumstances, different matchup, I'd probably go Rodgers. I love Rodgers. You guys all know this. But I'm going Andy Dalton to have one more weekend of fun in the sun.
Yeah. I'm there too. I'm there too. It's Dalton for me. I wouldn't think twice about it. I think this Broncos Jets game is low scoring. Should be a decent amount of points in that game for Dalton. So
it's close, but I'm also going to sit Aaron Rodgers. It might sound crazy. It's not Denver's. They shut down everybody. And I love Breece Hall today.
Oh, me too. 60 what was it, 64.5 rushing yards was his prop that I sent over to you this morning. So. I threw like 2 units on that. I like that a lot.
And the total 47 versus 39.5 going in favor of the Andy Dalton side.
Yep.
All right, we do have a super chat here.
By the way, the sneaky touchdown bet in that game is Breece to score 2. I definitely taking him to score 1. Breece to score 2, and this might be another fucking Lazard touchdown game.
Yeah, I think that too. I've got a couple of DFS shares of him so far.
Like his reception line's 2.5. Like that might be a sneaky play. Like because
I like Conklin low key. I like Conklin a little more. Broncos, for what it's worth, like this Riley Moss kid is pretty solid. White cornerback, first one we've got as a starter since Jason Sehorn, so he's representing us a little bit.
You had Sehorn in.
No, it's just the last time there's ever been a white corner
really?
starter in the NFL is Jason Sehorn. Yeah,
pretty much. Sorry about that. My headphones are disconnected.
Yeah, right. But he's been pretty good. So I like Tyler Conklin. I have Conklin in a few DFS just because Alex Singleton's out. Maybe that opens up things over the middle of the field.
We do have another super chat. This is coming from Derek Just with the $1.99. Appreciate you, buddy. Carson Steele or Rashad White, our favorite running back on this program. Full point per reception. Anthony, I'll go to you first here. Where are you going, buddy? Steele is ice. He's tricky.
Rachaad White, after that week 1 game, has been downhill, disappointing. We're seeing Bucky Irving, and they're both on injury report, both expected to play. Bucky's kind of cutting into that receiving workload a little bit.
White was more of an illness, though, correct?
Yeah, he said that. He's
but they're both going to play.
An illness.
I know.
Steele had volume last week, and here's the problem with Steele. I don't think that he might have had 1, maybe 2 targets, if that, but he had the volume. He needs to score to return the fantasy value. Man, I might still go Rachaad. I don't know. Let me look something up. You guys handle this, and then let me look up some.
I was going to. I don't love it, but you know what? I'm going Carson Steele here.
I'm gonna look something up.
I'm worrying a little bit about what we're seeing from that Buccaneers backfield. I mean, last week you had Bucky Irving averaging 7.8 yards per carry.
Yeah, he did that week 1 too.
So, I mean, that's got to be noticeable in that Buccaneers running back room. I'm going Carson Steele, but I'm also admitting that, like kind of like Anthony said, he's got to get in the end zone. Gotta.
I'm gonna go Rachaad White. And I don't love it. I actually think the more sound analysis is to take Steele here, but my heart tells me Rachaad White. This is a solid game. This is a dude that, look, we've all faded him, but this offense looked bad last week. I don't think that they fade him out. Bucky Irving's going to continue to eat into the touches, but I just, my gut just tells me Rachaad White's going to have a solid day today. And so for me, like, I would start White over Steele. I think to Anthony's point, like with Steele, the receptions aren't there and you're just banking on a touchdown. I think there's going to be more points in that Eagles game and that Chiefs game. I don't know. I don't think Steele gets 17 carries again this week either. I think Kareem Hunt's up this week. I don't think he was up last week. So I think there's a chance that there's a little bit more of a rotation. So I'm going to go with Rachaad White, just the better talent overall.
This is just I hate that it's such a tough question. Like, even looking at I was looking up the historicals. I know White played Philly twice, like high floor, has never scored a touchdown, volume, his typical type of, rushing yard average. Like, he's Rachaad White. If he's not getting receptions, he's not scoring. It's almost like he's Carson Steele. Yeah. I might go Carson Steele. I do think, he can get that 15, 17 touches. I'm not as worried about Kareem Hunt. Like, let's see him. Like, he was on the street for a reason. So I think this might be his job to lose. I'm going to go Carson Steele because I am very much worried about Bucky Irving.
Yeah, I get that.
All right, we do have another super chat. I'm just going to put a PSA out there for anybody who is in our chat. You could feel free to like the show, but also we are running a DraftKings contest today. DFS $5 entry. I think we have 6 more spots open, so I just put that link in there. I'll probably do it 1 or 2 more times. So if you want to join us,
what's the size of that, Hoff? There's only 6 spots left already.
Yeah, it's 15 bodies. I set up as. So
yeah, I mean, maybe we could open that up to maybe possibly more.
If it fills, yeah, then next week we'll do more, and I'll just say prizes go to first and second place. So feel free to join that link. I just put it in the chat. I'll fire it in there again before the show is over.
You need to shoot that to me too. So
I have multiple times this week, but I'll do it again.
Yeah, do it again.
Maybe too busy bitching about baseball to notice it. Maybe that's what happened. Anyway,
super chat.
I sent it in this morning.
God, I need the whole fucking song. It's such a tease every time. I forget every time. All right, Marquise sending in a $1.99 super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. Half point per reception. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Mix and filler. So Sanders or McLaughlin? Oofa.
What the fuck?
What the fuck is right?
Not Sanders. McLaughlin. But you don't ever start Miles Sanders.
Wow. Gee.
At least McLaughlin scored a touchdown. I mean, honestly, like it's terrible for both. I would hate to be in your spot right now.
It's quite a fall, man. In depth. Like, what happened?
It's got to be McLaughlin. Scored a touchdown last week. I think Tyler Batty's going to be involved. I do think the Denver's going to have some trouble running the football, but why the hell are you ever starting Miles Sanders right now? Did I miss something? Did Miles Sanders get a lot of volume last week?
He had 11 fantasy points.
He got some touches. Yeah.
Back-to-back games with 7 carries. He's had 3 and 2 receptions and targets. Like he's getting 9 to 10 touches.
You know what?
The only thing I was just saying is
I'm going to take Miles Sanders. Actually, I'm going to take Miles Sanders with the matchup.
I just think he's got more home run hitter. I prefer McLaughlin just because Chuba looks like he's taking over this role until Brooks comes back, and it's just it's still not enough for me to start Sanders. So I'll start McLaughlin and call the bias out. That's fine.
1,000% correct by index of suspicion off topic. But
I'm
yeah,
going to
Anthony,
go Miles Sanders. I'm going to go Miles Sanders. Actually, I might walk it back because like at least right, we have 2 out of 3 games where
see the comment, Anthony.
2 out of 3 games we have a 7.8 and 8.4 PPR points from McLaughlin. The usage is sporadic. Like he scored last week. He had 5 targets in week 1. Like let's assume, or I'm going to assume the Jets should handle the Broncos, and there could be a negative game script to be playing out of, and some pass catching opportunities. So I'm gonna go the Jaleel McLaughlin route, but like this is fucking rough.
That is rough. That is quite a fall from grace. You guys can you guys can feel free to send in a super chat.
I had to throw on the Broncos jersey because just to give a little bit of extra luck for McLaughlin for him there. So hopefully that gives you a little more juju.
Oh, and Anthony, here's a sound drop that Steve will be very excited about when he returns.
You have no manners.
Yeah, and now he's got it. All right,
let's just grab Paul here because he's a super chat warrior. He sends us in a lot, so I just want to grab his question. He said, "Hey guys, start Shakir or Reed at wide receiver 2. Was leaning Shakir with him seemingly being wide receiver 1 in Buffalo and with a potential shootout matchup. Thank you. This is closer than I think people want to give it. I think I do lean Shakir here, just because of the possible volume. And I just don't know how much they're going to throw the football in terms of the Packers. I think this is going to be like a 17-21 score game. Like that's what I see it being lower scoring. Like for some reason in my head, I just see that being the score for that Packers game for some reason. So you guys.
And Anthony, go ahead, Anthony. I'm just answering somebody in the chat.
And I like Shakir a lot this week, but with Jordan Love back, I don't know if I can sit Reed even with the matchup. As good as this defense is playing, like they use Reed in so many different ways, and Jordan Love seems to really get him the football. I'm gonna go Reed. Reed with Jordan Love's a must start for me.
Pete, do you see? I'm going Khalil Shakir here for what Paul mentioned, the shootout potential. Do we see a question from Jason D in there somewhere? He said he asked like 15 times. I didn't see it. I told him to fire it back in there, but
yeah, pull somebody else's question up. I'll find Jason D.
In both career games, by the way, Jaden Reed, 4 for 83 and then 6 for 89 and 2. So a very high yardage floor for Jaden Reed.
All right, there you go. All right, so Jason D, we do have your question now. Sorry about that, buddy. Flex, PPR, Roma Dunze or Monty or Garrett Wilson. Not leaning towards Wilson, and that's correct. I'm not leaning towards Wilson either. We've said it multiple times this week on this show. Wide receivers going up against Patrick Surtain are not having a great Sunday so far this season. So that's the obvious one for me that's out. I'm going to go Roma Dunze in this one. I mentioned it earlier when we had a Caleb Williams question. I like Caleb Williams to give us a consistent game, even with Keenan Allen being back. I still think that there is a bit more of a connection between Caleb and Roma Dunze than there is with Keenan Allen. And also, no, I don't expect 52 passes again, but I still think Roma Dunze will make it count when he gets the ball. So I'm going Rome here. Anthony, I'll go to you first. I think you'll disagree with me.
I'm also out on Garrett Wilson. He's one of my guys, but until we see anything, put a pulse up, a sign of life against Surtain, I'm gonna sit them. I'm gonna sit every wide receiver against him. He's just playing that type of football right now, almost like Revis Island good. For anybody old enough to remember that. Montgomery's been playing well. We did see Gibbs get into the mix a lot last week, and the matchup against Seattle, I'm going to go with Dunze. I like Roma Dunze a lot this week. It might blow up in my face. I think he has a similar floor and a higher ceiling than Montgomery.
Pete, what about you, buddy?
Yeah, give me Montgomery. It's my guy. Maybe there's some bias there. Totally understand that. I don't know. Again, I keep talking about it, but I want pieces in the Seattle Detroit game. I think David Montgomery, for what it's worth, Seattle's been pretty decent against defenses. I think the opportunity is going to be there. I know Anthony alluded to Gibbs getting touches. It's going to be the same thing, though. Montgomery is never going to be phased out enough to the point where he's not viable. And he's just been too damn good for me to bench. So I prefer Montgomery out of the three.
All right, let's go. I think this is kind of an interesting question. A little bit of a depth here at wide receiver. He needs one. Doesn't say if it's PPR or not, so let's just assume it's half-point PPR just to stay in the middle here. He said he needs one: Michael Wilson, Christian Kirk, Yoshevich, or Jalen Waddle. Yoshivas, whatever. I'm close enough. I'm going Michael Wilson here. Against this Commanders secondary, which is a cesspool. I'm going to go Michael Wilson in this one. I got him in DFS. I'll take him in this question. Yoshivas would be the next one up for me after that, but it's Michael Wilson would be my play.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go not Garrett Wilson. I'm going to go Christian Kirk here. I just think playing from behind, no Evan Ingram. He had a solid week last week. Something gives me the vibe, like just a lot of garbage time for Christian Kirk. I think he ends up having a solid day. I think Michael Wilson's a solid play. But Christian Kirk had 10 targets last week, connected on 8 of them for 79 yards. So I think that they're finally figuring him out a little bit. And I think they're going to be playing from behind a lot. So give me Kirk.
Anthony?
Yeah, I love Michael Wilson this week, but there's some volatility there. How much volume is he going to get? Christian Kirk, I think last week was maybe the start of him being leaned on the way he probably should have been from the season opener. Houston, their defense is good, but they're giving up the 12th most fantasy production to wide receivers collectively through 3 games, 31 receptions, 463 yards, 4 touchdowns in PPR leagues. And Christian Kirk, the past 2 games in this matchup, 4 for 89, 4 for 54, and a touchdown. So he's at least giving us a high floor. Like, I'd rather buy into that floor than possibly a very low floor, like in the single digits for Michael Wilson, or maybe Michael Wilson gives us 18. But I don't. That's too much volatility when we can plug and play Christian Kirk coming off of a very solid usage game.
Yeah.
So. Kind of a similar question, a little bit, sort of in a way, not really. But David over on YouTube, PPR, start 1, rank other 3 to cover potential questionable players. So I think our answer is going to be all unison here. He's got Najee Harris, Michael Wilson, Braylon Allen, Jaden Waddle. I think we all agree we're all going Najee here, right?
Yeah.
And then if you had to rank the other 3 for the heck of it, Michael Wilson, Braylon Allen, and Jalen Waddle at the end for me, only because I am scared shitless of this quarterback situation. I know they're going with Huntley, so hopefully better things are ahead for the Dolphins. I guess on a minimal standpoint, but whatever.
Yeah, I'll move Waddle ahead of Braylon Allen here.
Okay,
I like Braylon Allen. I think it's a solid matchup because this Broncos run defense isn't great, but I'm just going to go with the star power and Waddle at that situation. But I agree, Michael Wilson, I would play over Jalen Waddle this week, and I would start Najee.
Yeah, I'm going to go Wilson, and I think I still go Braylon Allen. Like he had 14 touches last week, only 9.8 PPR points, so just shy. He's like a touchdown away if he's going to get this usage every week. If he scores, he gets you over that like 12 to 15 threshold. If he doesn't, this could be a week-to-week flex play in Braylon Allen. And I'm out on, again, these wide receivers in Miami until I see how Huntley plays. They struggled, obviously, with Skylar Thompson. And Tennessee, one of the best defenses, like we talk about Denver. Tennessee's 3rd in containing wide receivers. There has not been one wide receiver, and we're talking about Chicago, Guys like DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Dunze, Garrett Wilson, Jaden Reed. I know the quarterback situation wasn't good, but nobody has scored over 10 PPR points against this secondary yet.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. We're going to answer a question from our friends over on Twitch because we are, by the way, streaming on Twitch. Anthony has informed me that we already have a very solid following there. But yeah, so welcome aboard. UB1QITOUSLYS. 12 team, half point per reception. Need a wide receiver and a flex. Drake London, Terry McLaurin, George Pickens, Zach Moss. Thanks and have a great day. You have a great day too, sir or ma'am, whomever you might be. Geez, I sound like Pete there. I am in this matchup. I do like Zach Moss this week. But with it being the half point per reception, I'm going Terry McLaurin and I'm going George Pickens. I know Anthony mentioned it. I'm expecting this to be a good week for George Pickens as well. Anthony looks like he's chomping at the bit to answer this question. He's probably pulling up some numbers, thinking hard. I could smell the wood burning over there. But Anthony, I'll go to you. Out of these 4 players, he needs a wide receiver and a flex.
This is a really tough question because I think you could obviously use all of them. Yeah. Drake London's interesting here because I think I would start Drake London over Terry McLaurin. So he's going to be one for me. But like these other guys, McLaurin would be my last option just because I think this could be a pop game for Pickens. And Zach Moss is playing really good football right now, and he has the matchup. So it's between Pickens and Zach Moss, and I'm just saying, like, Moss
needs
value.
Well, I mean, he needs a wide receiver and a flex.
Right.
Okay.
Moss had 17 touches last week.
Yeah.
4, back-to-back games with 5 and 4 red zone touches, and on the season 4 total rushes inside the 5. So he's getting the goal line work. This Carolina, they're terrible against the run, so I think we definitely get a score from him. I'm going to go Moss and Drake London.
Ooh, okay. So 2 things. One, I want to pull KJ Frederick's question next.
Yeah, do it.
He's been waiting.
Whenever you're ready.
I do want to answer this question, and then I want to give an injury update. Yeah, so for me, I'm with Anthony. Zach Moss, great matchup. Got to get him in the lineup. Some advanced metrics just show that he is playing really good football. I don't have those in front of me, but he looks really good out there, and he's getting the workload, and it's just a good matchup. So give me Zach Moss. And then, honestly, it's between McLaurin and London for me, actually. I think I lean Terry just because of the connection, and I think there'll be a lot of points, and it's going to be the highest amount of points out of these 4. And I just think that Jaden Daniels has found a connection, and Arizona's secondary isn't very great. So give me Terry in that spot. I do want to get to KJ, but before I get to KJ, I do want to give just an update here. Lane Johnson is out today. Yeah, so Lane Johnson is out in the 37 games. In the 37 games with Lane Johnson out, the Eagles are 14-23 with a win percentage of .378. So keep that in mind. I mean, if you're starting Jalen Hurts this week, no A.J. Brown, no Devonta Smith, and now the best left tackle, or arguably right tackle, one of the best tackles in the game is no longer playing. And I do believe this defensive line for the Bucs get Vita Vea back today. So that should be something to keep an eye on. And then it looks like Chris Olave is going to play. Schefter said he's confident that he will play. And then just 2 other sidebars as well. Adam Schefter did say that it looks like they're opening up the practice window for Nick Chubb. So if you're a Jerome Ford owner, keep that in mind. Maybe time to sell, or maybe time to just hold or go buy him if you're not believing that Nick Chubb comes back strong. And then the last thing I'll mention, and then we'll get to questions, is TJ Hawkinson as well. They're looking to have him open up. They're projecting he'll be back October 24th against Los Angeles. So good news. And, for a year that tight ends haven't been great, Hawkinson could be a really nice boost to that Vikings offense that looks pretty good this year.
It's been some scary streets with the tight ends.
It sure has. But enough of that. KJ Frederick, let's get to him. He said he owns Jawan Jennings and Garendo as Mason's handcuff. Should I drop one of them to pick up my bye week quarterback now to beat waivers? They own Hurts, Fields, Watson, Carr, Dalton are all on waivers, full PPR. I'm trying to. So he owns Hurts, and the Eagles are on a bye next week. So it's really looking forward to what these matchups. I would probably be comfortable dropping Juwan Jennings if Debo is active. I know Hoff's going to shake his head, but look, Christian McCaffrey, they said that they're looking at him late November to come back. Like that's still like 2 months from now. So I like Garendo as a handcuff. And honestly, you might drop Juwan Jennings and nobody picks him up this week because Debo and Kittle are back. So because of all of that, I would drop Jennings. And as for which quarterback, I don't have the schedule. I don't know if either of you can have a look ahead to see
for week 5.
Yeah, so it's Fields, Carr, Watson, Dalton. But Anthony, do you agree while Hoff looks that up? Would you drop Jennings or Garendo in this situation?
Jennings.
Yeah.
Jennings. With these other pass catchers coming back, I think Jennings obviously falls back to the ancillary option in this passing attack.
So, all right, you know what? I wasn't going to, but I actually will side with you guys. I would just say obviously you have him as a handcuff. I don't see him getting any kind of real volume. And I think that if God forbid Mason goes down, I don't know if Garendo gets that same exact workload that Mason has gotten at certain points.
Who else are going to get? What other running? Fucking Matt Breida?
No, I get it. I get it. I get that the options then are,
Ricky Waters.
Scary. Yeah, okay. Let's just start naming off. Can we be serious here, Anthony? As you would say. I honestly think that means that Kyle Shanahan says to Brock Purdy, "All right, kid, we're fucking throwing it."
But
like
that's not their. But that's not their style of football. They're going to run.
Just brought up to. Okay, all right, fine. I'm saying that if Mason goes down, Garendo's not getting that same workload. If you want to say he is, okay, but I respectfully disagree. So that's all. That's all I'm saying. As far as the schedule, you guys wanted go
give us the schedule for Fields, Carr, Watson, and Andy Dalton.
All right. So Fields will be at home on Sunday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
Derek Carr, where are you, Derek Carr? He's on Monday night at Kansas City. Deshaun Watson is going to be. Where are you, Deshaun? I think they're on bye, actually. Nope, there you are. You're there at Washington.
You're picking up Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I agree.
And then the last one was Andy Dalton, just for the hell of it, at Chicago.
No.
Yeah, I would go.
It's Deshaun or Fields.
Yeah.
Fields, against. I know they had that one start against Dallas a few years ago. I think Dallas ended up blowing that team out, but Fields had a really nice fantasy game. It was that stretch 2 years ago where Fields looked like the second coming, and everybody was like, he's the fucking best thing in the world.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah.
Two things. One, Jason, we're going to answer you here. Hot Take City, we'll get to you next. And then we will also get to Ronaldo Torres, has been waiting a little bit. I do want to mention one thing. I'm going to give out one stash. I think Audric Estime of the Denver Broncos, if you have an IR spot, he's going to probably come back in a week or two. And if he can hold up and pass, bro, I think he's probably the best guy to take over if Javonte somehow gets a lower workload because of the inefficiency. I think Audric Estime is a solid stash as well. What are you looking at, Anthony?
What week was this for?
Week 5.
Next week, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I thought I saw week 6 in there. Okay, yeah. For some reason, I thought I saw week 6 in the question.
Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, I would go pick up Audric Estime if you have an IR spot. Is a nice stash. Jason D says, do the Eagles lean on Saquon Barkley a lot more now? I mean, they have a bye next week. I think AJ Brown, if they didn't have a bye next week, I think Brown would have came back, but I think they're just giving him an extra week of rest because of the bye, not to push it. But I think Saquon's probably in line for a pretty nice game. Vita Vea coming back. It does worry me a little bit, but I don't care. I mean, you're starting Saquon. Yeah. I might take him to score a touchdown today as well.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about one of the best running backs in football. So
yeah. Yeah, and I don't think he's advocating to drop him. I think he's just making just a general question.
Yeah, and I will just say, just from an NFL perspective, this bye week could not come at a better time for the Philadelphia Eagles right now. They are just got a lot of injuries there.
Yeah. Hot Take City, friend of the show, said Tutu Atwell, Madison, or Ilyasovas in PPR this week. I'm going to go. I keep saying Ilyasovas. I'm going to go Yoshivas here. I'm going to go Yoshivas. I know Tutu had a nice game, quote unquote, but he had a big catch on like the final drive last week that really kind of inflated his total, I believe. I think he only had like 4 catches for 90. 94 or something like that, and one of them was on a long play at the end of the game. So I'm gonna go Yoshivas just because of Carolina's defense not being great, and he's just getting a lot of volume. I don't really want to start Madison and Tutu Atwell again. It's just gonna be who we're playing Russian roulette with the Rams wide receivers as to who's gonna have a decent day.
We are, but I'm still going 2-2, slightly. But I also like Yoshivas. We're just going to keep mispronouncing his name all season long. Stay tuned. But yeah, I'm going to go 2-2 Atwell here. I liked what I saw. Granted, the Niners have a lot of issues with coverage, but yeah, I don't know. I like him to get a couple shots this week to 2-2 Atwell.
I think that if you want to play safe, go Madison. But I like Yosh. I would, if it's me, I'm probably going Yoshivas.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like this isn't like a pizza bet worthy thing, but yeah, I would just go 2-2.
I don't think any of us want it.
Pete, I think you're officially in charge of the questions now.
That's all right. I'll take over. It's good. You get a little break. Sometimes it could be a lot.
Yeah, man, arms getting tired.
Yeah. Jason D said correct, Pete. Knowing Lane Johnson's out. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured his question was about. Ronaldo Torres helped us out with moderating on Facebook, so I want to get to his question. He said, "Who should I start in the flex spot for PPR? Pickens, Reed, or Najee Harris?" It's a tough question. I think I go Najee Harris still out of the 3.
Yeah, we kind of had a similar question earlier that involved other players, but it did involve Najee Harris. It did involve George Pickens. I have Najee slightly above George Pickens this week, even though I do like Pickens. Pete said all the right things earlier. Nice matchup. No Jaylen Warren. So Najee would be the play for me. Anthony, between those 3, buddy, who we going with?
Again, there's another situation. I like all 3. I really like Jaden Reed. It's tough. I would start all 3 if you could. If you want to play it safe, I'm going Najee. If you want to take a little bit of a risk, I'm going to go Jaden Reed. But Najee, if you want to play it safe, I think he brings a nice mix of floor and upside. Am I concerned about Cordarrelle Patterson doing something? Yes, because fucking Arthur Smith. But it's the Colts. This should be a game where Najee returns some significant fantasy value.
All right. Just a little programming thing as Pete's coming back. I am typing in right now into the chat our DraftKings contest. Again, we're doing that today. We now have 5 more spots left. So I'm going to fire that into the chat now. And feel free to join. $5 entry. Come have some fun with us. First and second place cash. So come on down right now.
I'm going to get to Last Rights. He's been in the chat a lot with us and has joined our shows. He said, would you start Fields or Justin Fields over Brock Purdy this week? PPR. I know Hoff's going to say start Purdy. I think Hoff believes Purdy's going to have a really nice game. I'm going to go Brock Purdy as well, which would be surprising because Fields has such a good matchup. But I think to Hoff's point, Brock Purdy's playing really good football right now. And, there was a lot of talk about the weapons and the system, but I think he showed that he really is just a good quarterback. And I think they're going to make it a point to get these weapons involved because they have them back. So I'm going to start Brock Purdy against a defense that looked like dog shit against the Jets last week. So,
yep. Took the words right out of my mouth. Thank you, Pete.
Love Anthony.
It's close. They're both in good matchups. We got Fields coming off of his best game since taking over the starting job. I think I'm going to slightly lean Purdy, and the only reason why is because this could be a situation where they really do get Najee Harris going, and you probably get a 2-possession lead and just keep running the football.
Really super quick, actually, and then we'll get to the next question. Do you guys think if Fields keeps playing the way he's playing and the Steelers keep winning, is he taking this job? Is Russell Wilson going to lose a job because of injury?
I think unless Fields has
took the job.
I think he kind of took the job, but I think truly and honestly, I think unless Fields has a fucking blow up game, I do just have this weird, eerie feeling that Tomlin may go and give Russ a chance, and have him start. But Russ looked terrible. It's kind of weird. I've never heard this with a calf injury, but it just sounds like it keeps getting fucking worse. And like, I just feel like they're like
just stop moving, Russ.
It's I feel like it's like a PR thing though. Like they're trying to shield Russ from the truth that like he just isn't good anymore. So it wouldn't surprise me, but I think to Anthony's point, I think Fields did win the job. And at this point, he's a young quarterback. They don't have a quarterback for the future. They're 3-0. Like, why would they not give him as many games as possible while they're winning to prove to them, is this a guy that we can move forward with? Because both of these guys are unsigned after this year. So they're winning with him. Why not? If things fall off the rails, I think the leash is not as long as people think for Fields right now because they're winning. I think if things start to sputter a little bit, I do think Fields will probably get benched for Russ. But until that happens, I think this is Fields' job to lose at this point, even if Russ is healthy.
I agree. And like the Steelers, if they keep winning games, great. I think the Steelers felt that they were in a situation, hey, like if both these guys suck, we're going to get a top draft pick. If they keep playing like this, they're not going to get a quarterback next year. But the good thing, if Justin Fields is the guy, he's not going to be. I get like the quarterback market. He's not going to be expensive.
No, he's not going to be expensive.
So like I think the ideal situation is that Justin Fields keeps going and playing like this, and they get to sign a quarterback at a value deal, like even like a Daniel Jones type of deal.
Sure.
Yeah. Debbie on Twitter said she's joined our DFS. Zach Linton said he joined as well. Let's get to Zach Linton's question here. Nice. I feel like we have not been able to answer Zach's questions the last few shows. I feel bad, loyal listener, but we've just been bombarded. So let's get to Zach here, friend of the show. And he said, Fields or Geno Smith this week? For me, it's going to be Geno Smith, shootout game, in my opinion. I'm going to keep hammering this point. I want all the pieces in this game. Geno's looked really good. And honestly, Kenneth Walker, like, it wouldn't surprise me if that injury acts up. It's like, I don't know if it was a hernia, it was like an abdominal injury. He had a similar injury last year. And this Detroit run defense is really freaking good. So I think they're going to throw the football against a suspect secondary. So give me Geno over Fields this week.
Yeah, I feel bad because we keep saying that we like Fields' matchup, but we keep picking against him. I do think this is closer than the Purdy question was for me. Yeah. But again, like Pete was saying, I like what I'm seeing out of Geno Smith. I like what I see out of the play calling here. This offense is doing pretty well quietly. So yeah, I would go Geno Smith here, but I do like Fields.
Yeah, I'm going to go Geno too. I talked about it earlier in the week. The two matchups in Detroit. These two teams have played the past 2 seasons. They're it's like fantasy haven or fantasy heaven when it comes to scoring. And Geno Smith in these matchups, 26.4 and 34.9. Over 320 yards in both, 2 touchdowns in both, even rushed for 1 in the game that he scored more. So I think we ride that trend.
All right.
Cool. All right. Let's see. Who do we want to answer? Let's go to Ray. Ray Gamer said, start the Vikings defense versus the Packers, Saints defense over the Falcons, Titans defense versus the Dolphins, and start 1 in standard. Let's get to the standard question after the defense because the defense might not take as long to answer. Realistically, I think the Titans are a really sneaky play. Anthony mentioned the secondary is really good. This is a Titans defense that's top 5 in yards given up right now. They have been really good this year. I don't think it's a bad play, especially if the weather, I don't know what the weather is right now, but it's damp and it's wet. And if it's raining, it could be low scoring. It's the lowest scoring total on the week. So I don't mind that. And Huntley likes to run a lot. Maybe he gets sacked. As for the other defenses, I mean, Saints I'm not starting, and it's really between the Vikings and Titans for me.
Yeah, I get all of your rationale with going for the Titans. I get it, and it makes it all makes sense. But
I'm still going to start the Vikings. I'm going to start.
Okay. I was going to say, I'm going to go Vikings here. Highest scoring defense. They're getting the interceptions, everything else. So I know there's a potential with the Titans, but I'm going off of what I've seen from the Vikings.
I'm going to go Tennessee. Edmonton defense, yeah.
Okay.
Against the quarterback, and this offense is lost without Tua.
Oh,
And
and then
maybe Huntley does something, but again, like, do I trust it?
I dig
not
that.
to mention, Will Levis is going to have the game of his life too, right?
like,
I cannot wait. I cannot fucking wait for Will Levis to play well today.
I
if he
fucking hope.
I don't even need him to play well. I just need him to score fantasy points. I don't care if he throws 10 interceptions.
Yeah,
I think it is a good matchup for him though. Anthony was right in that it is a good matchup. I want to see the weather report to see what the heck is going
That
on.
monsoon.
Just as Pete looks up as Pete looks up the
I really
report.
believe the fucking monsoon thing too.
It says it's 70% humidity, low wind, and it's cloudy with a chance to rain. So it looks like it's not, but there is a heat advisory in effect. Says it feels like it's pretty hot and humid out there. So
just for context on the joke, and then we'll get to the standard question. Yeah, we have a 3-way pizza bet here for this week. Pete's going with Anthony Richardson. I'm going with Andy Dalton. And Anthony, for some god-awful reason, is going with Will Levis. But if Will Levis does outscore those players, me and Pete will not hear the end of it in the group chat. That much is certain.
That's true.
Yeah.
You idiot.
I like that. Only other thing I would say and then we'll get to the next part of the question. If again, I said this before, if Harrison Smith and Gilmore don't play, I'm kind of with Anthony here. I'm riding this Titans defense. If those two guys don't play.
And by the way, it's less about Anthony Richardson. I expect that you just talk about Andy Dalton like he's a slam dunk over Will Levis. Like fucking Andy Dalton.
He is. He's fucking Will Levis. Like same thing.
All right, let's get to the second point. Ayuk, Jennings, or Deontay.
Fran Tarkenton all of a fucking sudden. Whatever.
Ayuk, Deontay, or Jennings, 6-point PPR. Yeah. Jennings, obvious sit here.
Standard, you said?
He said, 6 points for a touchdown. It is standard. I'm going with Ayuk here. I'm going to go with Ayuk.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know Ayuk's going to turn it around. And I know if this was PPR, would your answer be different?
It would. I'd go Deontay if it was PPR, but the 6 points per touchdown standard, I prefer Ayuk.
I'm still slightly going to go, and this one's by a nose hair. And if it was PPR, the gap would be larger, but I'm going to go Deontay over Ayuk here. I do think Ayuk's going to turn around soon. I just don't know if this is the week. So, and Anthony's smirking, but Anthony, guess what? I'm picking against the 49er. How about that, man?
I'm going to go Ayuk. You know, with these other guys back, maybe this is a, if you guys are right, maybe Debo's limited, maybe Ayuk, Ayuk's going to get the more targets. He had 10 last week. He has to fucking produce in fantasy eventually, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
If Debo's a decoy, especially.
These guys will be close, and there's an obvious reason why Ray is answering it. But I'm going Deontay this week, and it's also got a lot to do with Adam Thielen being out as well. The wide receivers behind Deontay are not sexy at all. The tight ends are virtually non-existent there, and then there's Chuba Hubbard. So that's why I go Deontay.
Yeah, I'm
I swear, I think Anthony does this shit on purpose. Whenever I pick a Niner, he rags on me. Whenever I don't pick a Niner, he picks the Niner. Can't win.
Which two quarterbacks? We don't probably have to spend too much time on this. We've kind of talked a lot about these guys today.
Fields finally wins here.
What'd you say?
I was saying Fields finally we're going to pick Fields.
Yeah, Fields. But you start two. It's which would you rather carry? So it's not start, it's carry. I'm definitely carrying Fields for the upside.
Yep.
And
Fields.
It actually is closer than you would think with Rodgers and Carr. I think I'm going to go with Rodgers though.
I think I'm going to go Rodgers slightly over Carr too. I don't think Carr. I mentioned earlier there's not going to be this fall to grace where he's going to absolutely suck, but I don't think he's going to play as well as he did the first few weeks. So give me Fields, give me Rodgers.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to drop Carr after how he finished last year and started this year, but we expect like Aaron Rodgers, at least I expect him. I think we all kind of expect him as he gets going in this offense. This is still a new team to him. I don't think we've seen the best version of Aaron Rodgers, but he's starting to heat up a little bit.
He looked really good last week. Juwan Jennings, Jacoby Myers, Addison. So I'm just going to
Myers.
If anybody asks us about Juwan Jennings, just know we're all probably going to tell you to sit him with all these 49ers up. So that might save you some time. If we haven't answered your question and you've been waiting and Juwan Jennings is in your question, most likely we're all probably going to sit.
It's going to be back to 3 to 5 targets.
Yeah, we would need context, of course. I don't want a blanket statement.
Like if it's Juwan Jennings or Jordan Whittington, ask the question.
Sure. Correct. Yes.
Fine.
Yep.
Yes.
That's perfect point.
Got us there.
Myers, Addison. I know the consensus for you guys is probably going to be Myers. Yeah. I'm going to go Addison. Yes. I am going to go Addison here, though.
Okay. I think, you're wrong, but that's cool.
Well, Jair Alexander is going to be up against Justin Jefferson. They've had some good battles in the past, and I think Naylor, that role that Naylor has been playing where he's been able to be successful, I think Jordan Addison's going to get in that role. I mean, realistically, Jacoby Myers, what pop does he have? He may score a touchdown, but like even with added volume, like I can't see Jacoby Myers having 80 receiving yards. I can see a world where Addison has a pretty monster day. So I'm just going to go with Addison with the better quarterback, better system, more points. Give me Jordan Addison.
Anthony, what you got?
I'm going Myers. I'm going to stick with Myers here. I've been on him a lot. With no Adams, it's. There's a lot of guys in Minnesota right now.
I get it. Red and Black said drop Javonte for Steele in a full point PPR. Mooney is also available. I don't know. Yeah. Depends on who you're dropping. Depends on your wide receivers in terms of the Mooney question. But I would take Steele at this point because the only thing that Javonte does provide is he does provide the pass catching that Steele does not. So and you know what? Honestly, I'm going to keep Javonte here. And the reason being Clyde Edwards-Helaire looks like he's coming back as well. So you're throwing another guy potentially in this mix. I don't love Javonte, but context is key. The Broncos have played really, really good defenses. They played the Bucs. They played Seattle. They've played now they're playing the Jets. And then they also played Pittsburgh. Like all of those defenses are really strong against the run. Javante's been bad, but his role is not going to go away. It might reduce a little bit, but he's still going to catch balls. So I'm going to take Javonte over Steele here. And I totally understand, going the other way on this.
I'm also going for his kicker question. Daniel Carlson or Younghoe Koo. Mr. KO's here already. I'm going Mr. Koo.
Carlson, Raiders, yeah.
Okay. Yep.
I don't think I would drop Javonte. I kind of agree here just because, they do have Hunt and CEH. I think next week he can come back.
Yes.
Mooney, I might. Mooney changes things. If you need a wide receiver and you're okay with running back, I would do that. And then this week, I'm going to go Koo.
Okay.
Good times.
All right. Keith Tapp said, need 2 wide receivers, start 2, 10-man PPR, Hill, London, Deontay, Ayuk, Myers, Shaheed. This is a tough question here.
I can't start Tyreek Hill right now between the quarterback situation, between the monsoon, right, guys, right? Or between the weather out there. I can't start Tyreek Hill this week. I get it that there is a great potential for it to blow up in my face, but I just can't do it. I would go Deontay here, and I would go Jacoby Myers slightly over Ayuk. I need to see Ayuk do it. That's where I'm at right now.
So you're really you would take Myers over Shaheed and London too?
Well, I don't like London at all, period, this week.
Okay.
I can probably be chalked into Shaheed over Myers. I'm going Deontay.
Okay.
And I just need to see Brandon Ayuk do it. I just need to see. I know he's going to. And the week he does it, I'm probably going to miss the boat on it maybe. I don't think it's this week, honestly. So that's where I'd go. I could be talked into Shaheed over Myers.
Okay.
I'm gonna go London, and it's between Deontay Johnson and Ayuk. I'm gonna go Brandon Ayuk. I think this could be the week for Brandon Ayuk. I don't know why.
I hope it
Maybe I'm
is.
crazy, but
as a
like he
fan.
got the volume last week. But like I get, you could say, well, the other two guys were down. Well, Jennings also got 12 targets.
12 targets.
So there is room for multiple players to have a higher target distribution. So I'm going to go Brandon Ayuk. I mean, this is now 4 weeks. We drafted him to be a top guy in fantasy, and
and they paid him.
This
to
is
be
the fucking matchup. This is the matchup.
Yeah. They play.
Yeah.
Look, I know people are a little afraid about the matchup with Christian Gonzalez, but Brandon Ayuk separation score, if you like fantasy points, he was third best against man coverage.
Yeah.
And this is a defense that runs a ton of man coverage in the Patriots. So I'm going Ayuk and Deontay Johnson here. That would be my two plays. Alex Navarro said flex spot, Ford or Mooney this week. It's going to be
Mooney.
Yeah, it's going to be Mooney for me.
Yeah.
Mooney.
I love Mooney. I've said it before on this show. Drake London's got a 24% target share. Mooney's right behind him with 23, so he's right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And hey, for what it's worth, this is pointed out to me by Jamie last night, but Drake London, 43% target share in the red zone for the season for that team so far, just so you know. That's pretty big. And Bijan hasn't really been able to punch it in over his career in the red zone.
He has not.
And Kyle Pitts, who the heck knows what we're getting with this guy. But let's try to go rapid fire through some of these. We're getting ready to close out. We got about maybe 10 minutes left.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this one kind of flew by. Hunter said Worthy or Jennings. It's Worthy for me.
Yep.
Worthy, but it's close.
Yeah.
Worthy.
Jay Judah said, please pick 3. Deontay Johnson, Tyreek, DJ Moore, Flowers, Stevenson, DJ and Deontay for me for the first 2. And then I'm going to start Zay Flowers in a game that I think is going to be high scoring.
That was going to be my exact answer. So lockstep.
I'm going to go DJ. I'm going to go Deontay, and I guess Flowers. I actually like Ram Stevenson today, but I can't. Like, last week we saw him get scripted out and potentially.
Does that change your mind, though?
Run on the 49ers.
Does it's half PPR. Does that change your mind at all? No. Yeah, me either. I think those are all volume.
I treat half PPR and full PPR very similar.
Yeah, and it depends. Like, I mean, if a big body receiver that gets into the end zone a lot, like that's the only time it changes. But these are all those guys are pure volume guys. So it doesn't really change much for me. Michael T said, need a flex, Laporta, Thomas Jr. or Bucky Irving. Good luck this week. Good luck to you, Michael. One of you guys answer this first. I got to think about it.
I'm a little worried about the ankle with with Sam Laporta. I know they said he's good to go, but I mean, when he left the game last week, he came back in, then he had to leave the game again. I could see something similar happening this weekend. So I'm going to go Brian Thomas Jr. Over Laporta and over Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving is on the injury report, and his seemed to have more to do with an actual injury as far as Rashad White was just like an illness. So give me Brian Thomas Jr. in this one. Anthony?
It's close because I can see a world where you throw anybody in, like they could bust. You could have the other guys pop on your bench. I'm gonna listen. I like Thomas. I think the secondary in Houston's a little bit leaky, but my gut says Bucky Irving. I'm gonna go with my gut. But like they could all can have a game. They can all not do anything. Like the ranges of outcomes. Like I don't have a distinct grasp on any of these 3 players.
Yeah, I go Brian Thomas just because I think playing from behind, same with the Christian Kirk thing. I would go Laporta if not here, but I'm going to go Brian Thomas. 9 targets last week. I think he's very much in play for me. ATL said Simmons is out. I don't know if he's referring to Justin Simmons. I haven't seen anything on that, but I would love to know because if Justin Simmons is out, that is interesting for that Saints game with Shaheed and Olave. Let's get to some earlier questions, and then we'll wrap up. We have about 8 minutes left. We're punching out of here at 11:30 Eastern time. So I'm going to answer some of these recent questions in here. Luke Cage said, which quarterback would you start this week? Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow? I'm going to go Burrow this week.
I thought it was Johnny Cage for a second. I almost got excited. A little Mortal Kombat vibe. But yeah, I'm going Joe Burrow this week.
Yeah.
I will go Burrow as well.
Brady, Shakir or Jennings, full PPR.
Shakir, not close.
Shakir.
Jack Taylor, Aaron Jones or Josh Jacobs, PPR. Aaron Jones for me.
Yep, Aaron Jones.
Podson said Jameson Williams, Michael Wilson or Dotson. JMO for me, and then Michael Wilson in that order.
Same.
All right. This is easy.
Stephen Grice said need help with the second flex spot, full PPR, Carson Steele or Lad McConkey, and then other guys to consider would be Jahan Dotson, Trey Tucker, Quentin Johnson, and Trey Tucker again. So I don't know if you get to play 2 Trey Tuckers. I'm not starting any of those guys on his bench though. I get Jahan Dotson's like an interesting play.
Well, those are guys that are on the waiver wire he could pick up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Dotson's an interesting, more for like DFS, but I don't want to have to depend on him in my lineup this week.
Yeah,
they've had all. I'll just say they've had all the opportunity in the world to get Dotson involved with AJ Brown out, and they haven't been able to. So even with Devonta out and AJ, I think I lead Lad here over Carson Steele.
I'm gonna go Steele.
Okay.
But who does Trey Tucker play for?
Trey Tucker's the Raiders guy. Who
I know. I'm fucking joking. He said Ticker. Like, come on.
Oh, I didn't notice he spelled Tucker wrong. He said Trey Tucker twice, and I didn't catch that. So maybe they are 2 different players.
It's not
Steele or let's get through this. Steele or Lad.
You idiot.
I'm actually gonna go. I would drop Lad and I would go with Quentin Johnson.
Whoa! You're dropping Lad
For Quentin Johnson, yeah.
Oh God, really?
I'm going to Carson Steele.
I'm not there yet to drop him, but to each his own. I go Lad. So Hoff, we can take a pizza bet on this one.
Honestly, I feel like they're treating Quentin Johnston as a tight end with his big body frame and how much work he's getting in like with the red zone. But I'm not dropping that.
Are we taking a pizza bet just to see who scores the most? I'm saying those 3.
Oh, but between those 3,
better day between Lad, Quentin, and Carson Steele.
Yeah,
I'm down.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah,
I'll take Quentin Johnson.
All right, so let's take that, Steve.
It's like Anthony said. I just like how they're using them. So,
I like Quentin Johnson. I'm just not there yet, especially dropping Lad.
It's a bit spicy.
Yeah, a couple more here. We got 5 minutes left. Let's just keep ripping through these. Shakir or Amari Cooper for Caden. This is probably a little trickier. It might not be rapid fire on this one. I'm going to go with Shakir in a shootout. I know the argument for Amari Cooper, Anthony brought it up before, but I just prefer the better quarterback. Yeah,
I would go Cooper here, but I absolutely love Shakir. It's been
I'm going Cooper as well.
Yeah, I understand. I just
I like both a lot, but I'm going to edge Amari Cooper slightly.
I just worry about this offensive line and it just being a low scoring game for Cooper. And then just really drawing on him. But JT said half PPR, pick 1 RB flex, 1 RB, 1 flex, 1 wide receiver. Swift, not starting him. Braylon Allen, Roshan Johnson. I could be talked into Roshan. Pickens, Shaheed, Tucker, Adunze, Tyreek Hill.
Well, he has to start 1 RB, so I would say Roshan would be the play for me, but I don't love any of those options. The wide receiver and the flex, give me George Pickens, give me Rashid Shaheed. Adunze as an honorable mention.
I'll go Rome, Adunze, Pickens.
Rome, Adunze. Well, he's got to start 1 running back, so you messed up there. Rome, Adunze.
Oh, I meant Roshan. I'm not Rome.
Roshan. Okay, got it.
Roshan, Adunze, Pickens.
Yeah, I'm gonna go same. I'm gonna go Shaheed over Adunze, but I agree with the other 2 on Pickens and Roshan. A couple more here. 3 minutes. Clock is ticking. If you guys have something burning, send in a super chat the last few minutes here, and we'll get to it. We're trying to get through as many as we can. John Lima said Dolphins defense versus Tennessee or Vikings versus Packers. I think Love is back. Yeah, keep saying it, but I need to see if Harrison Smith is playing or Gilmore. I don't know what time those games start, so you may need an answer sooner rather than later.
Well, I mean, the Dolphins is on Monday night. The Vikings are today, and I believe that's
okay. So he's got at least time to see if Gilmore and Harrison are up. I'm starting Vikings. If they are down, I'm going to go ahead and start the Dolphins defense.
I would start the Vikings regardless.
Yeah, I don't trust Miami.
Okay. Yeah, I totally get it. Tyler Owen said, if Debo plays, do we start him? I mean,
Depending on what else you have.
Yeah, unless it's like for example, just really quick, I'm in a league where it's a very small bench and Debo's there, and I might sit him today, given the other options I have. So,
Serious question: Debo or Jennings? Because people might be in that situation.
Debo, and I am in that situation in a different league.
That's a serious thing. They could have picked him up and.
Yeah, I go Debo. This is weird. Debo. This is a weird one here, though. I honestly am a little stumped. Zach Moss or A-Chain this week? I'm gonna go with A-Chain. I'm gonna go with A-Chain. Reason being is Tyler Huntley could check the ball down a decent amount. I think they're gonna find creative ways to get A-Chain the ball.
There's also the threat of the RPO with Huntley.
Right. And look, I think this Dolphins offense knows that last week was not up to the standard that they want to play. So I think they're going to make it a point to get their playmakers involved. So just give me A-Chain, but Zach Moss, man, he's going to have a solid day too. He's the safer play, Zach Moss, but A-Chain's the higher floor.
If it had been Skylar Thompson in there again for whatever reason, then I would say Moss. But since they made the switch,
I like Moss a lot this week. So this is a really valid question, but I slightly lean A-Chain. So if they're going to get any offense, I think it's going to come from him.
Yeah. Let's bang. Oh, Swift, aka Steve, said, Jonnu Smith week. Do you like it? I actually think Jonnu's a decent play with the way the tight ends have been. I actually don't think it's a bad call.
Didn't you get a decent? I've got to pull that up. I thought you got a decent amount of targets last week too. I don't hate that call either, Steve.
Yeah,
I gotta pull that up, but.
I don't hate it, though. I think Steve's going to win my Jonnu Smith bet with him. We're coming up on 1 minute here. Podson said Anthony Richardson or Andy Dalton, 6 points passing per touchdown.
Dalton, man.
I will take Andy Dalton here because of the passing touchdown. 6
Same.
point passing gives me Dalton. If it was 4, I'm still riding with Richardson. A few more here, and then we are out. For a while. Let's get to Chris on Facebook. He said, flex questions, start Jawan Jennings, Mike Evans, Brandon Ayuk, Zach Moss, Debo Samuel, Jalen Naylor, Raheem Shaheed, or Josh Downs, starting 3, Brandon Ayuk, Mike Evans, and Zach Moss for me. That would be my 3.
Mike Evans is definite for me. I'm going to go Zach Moss after that. Shit. You know what? I will go Debo over Shaheed here. But those guys are close for me personally. Only because, and I'm sorry, then you go. I think we could see Shaheed catch one of those deep passes. He'll have like 4 or 5 targets, but he'll catch that one big deep pass. So that's why. But I'll go Debo slightly.
I'm going to go the same, and the reason why I like Debo over Ayuk because I do think he gets a potential rushing opportunity in the red zone.
So you're picking a big day for the Niners, huh, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, if they don't fuck up the Patriots, then.
Yeah.
If they fuck this game up, I'm going to be very sad. Sitting at that Post Malone concert, crying in my beer. That's what's
I like
happen.
the 49ers when they can help my bankroll.
Hey,
I hear you.
-10.5. I got them.
Alicia said, and I'm just answering this one quick. She said Jets, Titans, Texans, or Raiders. Texans for me. That's my favorite one. I just want to pull this up. I want to pull this up.
The fucking Jets.
I want to pull this up. And to everybody that's in the chat, Big Money says, skip my question while I waited. I'll take my like back and unsubscribe. Thanks for nothing. Jeez. Look, guys, we have tons of questions in here. We're trying to get to everybody. If you are somebody who listens, all the time, if you're somebody who listens to us all the time, you're more than happy to drop a question once the video closes out, and we will answer. Anthony has been great at doing that. We've jumped in to help Anthony as well. So unfortunate, but there's plenty of other people that'll have their questions answered. Big Money. So sorry to see you go, but there's plenty of other people that'll stay. So don't really care. Sorry we upset you, but we answered like 90 questions today.
No hard feelings.
We're doing our best here. So, but I think that's about it. If you have any questions, I know there's still more that we didn't answer. Like I said,
ask them in the comment section, and we'll try to get to them.
Yeah, and we'll try our best to get to them as well.
That's Shakir over Myers for me, Jack.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Agreed. Yeah.
Close us out, Hoff.
All right. Well, listen, it's been fun. Until next time, folks, stay thirsty, be kind to one another. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. Cheers.